realities of cesarean sections and a growing debate surrounding its increasing adoption.
The mother is on labor and labor is not progressing well. And we are expecting this woman supposed to have delivered, if not delivered. You review and you know that there's obstruction to the passing of the baby. So we can do CS.
CS is the safest thing for us to do for the pregnant woman during the labor.
Across Nigeria, when the topic of cesarean sections is brought to the table in many discussion circles, there is a likelihood of encountering widely differing opinions. The C-section topic is usually charged with emotion and frequently approached with cultural, religious, and traditional points of view. Many women fear C-sections, often viewing it as a sign of weakness or, in some communities, families associate them with cultural taboos, even when they are medically necessary for safety. The last edition of The Big Story explored the history of childbirth practices in Nigeria. However, this edition of The Big Story explores the intervention of C-section and the growing debate surrounding its increasing adoption. A cesarean section refers to the operation of delivering a baby through incisions made in the mother's abdominal wall and uterus, involving a coordinated medical team rather than just one doctor. Medical professionals do not just recommend this procedure very lightly. There are several reasons why these medical professionals usually recommend a cesarean section when a vaginal delivery could put the mother or baby at risk. Doctors, nurses, and midwives play their roles in educating women about the need to attend antenatal clinics as they advise these women, based on medical evidence, of the need to consider C-sections as an option to save their lives or the lives of their babies, if and when necessary. Medical professionals are familiar with the context in which they operate and the mindset of the women who attend their clinics, so they work to correct their negative impressions women and their relatives might have about C-sections. While cesarean sections are generally safe, they do carry certain risks, just like any major surgery. There may be complications such as infection, blood loss, or reactions to anesthesia, and then recovery also takes longer compared to vaginal birth. Sometimes, mothers may experience pain at the incision site and are usually advised to avoid heavy physical activity for several weeks after surgery. However, when medically necessary, the benefits of a C-section far outweigh the risks. In the end, every childbirth journey is different, and every woman must be proud of her own process and journey. Vaginal delivery indeed remains the natural and widely preferred option, but we must also remember that cesarean sections continue to play a vital role in preventing complications and saving lives when the need arises. Our priority and focus should not be the method of delivery, but the safety of both mother and child. Let us focus our focus on informed choices, timely medical intervention, and ensuring that no woman is left without the care she needs during one of life's most critical moments.
If you're pregnant and listening to me, please do not be afraid of a C-section. Instead, focus on this: having a healthy baby and having a healthy mother. Don't let anybody poison your mind about cesarean section. Always get clarified information from medical personnel concerning any decision on your health. And to every woman out there who has had a C-section, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are strong, you are brave, and you are a mother in every sense of the word.
To close the gap between tradition and the adoption of C-sections in Nigeria, there is a need to increase awareness among members of society who influence the decision of pregnant women when they are about to give birth. Husbands, mothers, religious leaders, traditional rulers, and community influencers must be sensitized with the proper information concerning C-sections. And every Nigerian must know that C-sections is a normal birth practice. That ends our big story for the week. Keep your eyes open and your ears to the ground for our upcoming episode of the big story. Abiodun Oloyede, Agidigbo FM News.
The Oyo State Governor Engineer Oluseyi Makinde has urged the residents of the state to pray for the emergence of a worthy successor who will sustain his administration's achievement regardless of religious affiliation. The governor made the appeal during the farewell ceremony for the state's 2026 Hajj intending pilgrims to Saudi Arabia. Details of the event held at the Olodo Hajj camp are presented by Agidigbo FM news correspondent Oluwapemi Bamidele. Here is the report.
The Oyo State 2026 intending pilgrims to Saudi Arabia today converged on the Olodo Hajj camp to meet and bid farewell to the state governor, Engineer Oluseyi Abiodun Makinde. The event was graced by Muslim Ummah, top government functionaries, religious and political leaders, among others. The Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, on arrival, was met with wild cheers as he went to greet the Muslim Ummah intending to perform this year's Hajj. In his address, the state governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, emphasized the need for continuity in governance, noting that the progress recorded under his administration should not be hindered by religious considerations.
When they get to the Holy Land, they must pray for our state, they must pray for our country, because this is just a period leading to the next election.
The governor, who pledged a donation of 2 new buses for utilities and logistics movement of the Hajj board members in Nigeria and Saudi Arabia, charged the intending pilgrims to be good ambassadors of the state in Nigeria and Saudi Arabia.
For us in Oyo State, religion is not an issue. In our various houses, we have all religion present in there.
In their goodwill messages, the Deputy Governor, Barrister Bayo Lawal, and a former Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Senator Mansura Sumonu, described Hajj as a sacred obligation that demands discipline and devotion. They charged the pilgrims to remain focused on the spiritual excess of the exercise and to remember Oyo State and Nigeria in their prayers. Earlier in his welcome address, the chairman of the Oyo State Pilgrims Welfare Board, Muslim Wing, Sheikh Hashim Atere, commended Governor Makinde for his unprecedented support, which he said has ensured a smooth preparation for the 2026 Hajj exercise. Sheikh Atere disclosed that the first batch of the 1,036 intending pilgrims from the state would be airlifted to Saudi Arabia on Sunday, May 3rd.
I want to implore my people, my pilgrims, to be a good ambassador, as His Excellency said before. Secondly, everything is set and is intact. All visas has been dropped.
Highlights of the events included Quranic recitation and special prayers offered for the governor, the states, and the country at large. Oluwapemi Bamidele, Agidigbo FM News.
The Peace Corps of Nigeria and the Nigerian Red Cross Society have pledged to collaborate with the Oyo State Independent Electoral Commission, OISEC, to ensure a peaceful, credible, and hitch-free local government election in Oyo State. The commitment was made during a courtesy visit to the commission, where representatives of the organizations emphasized the need for synergy among stakeholders to promote voter confidence and electoral integrity. Speaking during the visit, the Commandant, Peace Corps of Nigeria, Barrister Lukman Fasasi, assured the Commission of the readiness to support voter education, crowd control, and other non-partisan activities that will enhance the smooth conduct of the elections. Similarly, the chairman, Nigerian Red Cross Society Oyo State Branch, Engineer Babalola Famade, reiterated the commitment of the organization to providing humanitarian support, including first aid services and emergency response before, during, and after the electoral process. Now it is time to link up with our United Kingdom studio for the foreign news.
News from Kulanza Studio at Gidigbo FM. United Kingdom, I am ISHOLA Damilola. European lawmakers have voted in favor of defining sex without active consent as rape, marking a historic step for women's rights and survivors for sexual violence in the European Union. The European Parliament urge all EU member states to adopt only yes as legal standard for consent. The move seeks to replace the traditional no means no principle, which activists argue fails to protect victims by now requiring explicit affirmative consent for sexual acts. The resolution is just the first step in the political process. It will now need to be proposed as legislation for EU member states to vote on. Meanwhile, 1 in 6 women in the EU experience sexual violence in adulthood, according to Amnesty, with 1 in 10 women raped in their lifetime. King Charles has become only the second British monarch ever to give a speech at the US Congress. His speech largely focused on the UK-US relationship, which he stressed was born out of dispute, but was more important today than it has ever been. The King and Queen have been treated to a White House dinner where Donald Trump also delivered a speech of his own. Donald Trump said it is only natural that Americans begin celebration for the 258th anniversary of U.S. independence by paying tribute to the transcendent bond it shares with the United Kingdom. And that ends the news from Pulamza Studio at Gidigbo FM, United Kingdom. I am Olushola Damilola.
And now the exciting world of sport. Chelsea captain Millie Bright has retired from football, effective immediately following her international retirement last year. Millie Bright's season was cut short by an injury, prompting the centre-back to decide that this was the right time to step away from football. The 32-year-old has spent over a decade with Chelsea, where she made over 300 appearances, winning the first trophy with the club in 2015, going on to collect 7 Women's Super League titles, 6 FA Cups, and 3 League Cups. Millie Bright also earned 88 caps for England, scoring 6 goals before announcing her international retirement ahead of the 2024 Euros in Switzerland. Chelsea will honour Bright's service to the club ahead of the final Women's Super League match of the season against Manchester United at Stamford Bridge on May 16. To wrap up the news this evening, here is a recap of the headlines. The JAB extends a 2026 direct entry registration deadline to May 8. Makinde calls for prayers for worthy successor to keep Oyo progressing. European Union seeks to close the loopholes allowing rapists to walk free. Chelsea captain Millie Bright retires from football. And before we go this evening, here is a quick tip. Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Finally, we have come to the end of the news around the world on the most listened to radio station at Gidigbo 88.7 FM Ibadan. I am Wuraola Yusuf. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
News is information, and information is power. At Agidigbo 88.7 FM, we bring the news from top to bottom.
The Oyo State Independent Electoral Commission, OISEC, has called for continuous collaboration.
We bring you reports from Oyo State.
The Oyo State House of Assembly has called for thorough investigation.
Southwest Nigeria and the rest of the world.
Has clarified that the body did not receive any cash support from international development.
Trust us to keep you informed every hour, every day.
Agidigbo